In this session, you'll learn how to create a project to hold all of your favourite effects so that you don't have to search through your effects tab for the ones you use frequently. The project will also store your frequently used clips or callouts like pointers, frames and backgrounds. You will see how to add and adjust the callout. Callouts are little objects that you can put into your video, and you will have noticed them in some of our videos so far as arrows. You'll notice that the arrow functions are separate items here in what I have as a project, and this project is called callout. So if I have callouts open, I can then have my normal project that I'm working on, and at any time I want to use one of those favourites, I can go to the callouts by simply clicking on one of whichever arrow the callout is in. Now these left and right arrows here are very similar to what you would see in an internet browser like Safari or Firefox. Here is the clip we're working on. We find here that there is a particular section where the speaker is framed on top of the audience. Perhaps it would look nice if we put a real frame around him. So we can go to the callouts, select the callouts here, or just go on one on the arrow. So these are all of the projects that are currently open. So go to the callouts, find a frame, not one that I'm interested in, maybe we'll use this one here. So select this frame and copy it, and I've used Command C in this case, or you could go to the edit menu and copy. Then go back to our clips that we wanted to work with. Here's the one wanting to be framed. We can simply click above or at a location here and paste that frame in. There is the frame. It's obviously not the right size at this point in time. So we can select on the frame, we can click on the transpose tool, and we can either resize the frame. Now at this point it's horizontal and the speaker is vertical, so we can rotate it. Let's reduce the size so that we can see more of what's happening. To get the rotation 100% square, it's perhaps better to move over to the transpose tool and change the rotation to 90 degrees so that we know that these lines are vertical and these ones are horizontal. Let's reduce the size a little to be more suitable for the speaker. And now we will go to these, reduce the size of it. Let's come up so that we can see more of it here now that it's in the frame. And we'll reduce the size so that it suits that particular frame. And now the speaker is framed. Now you notice here that a little bit of the lectern is still showing there, so we need to adjust this. Just drag that slightly to the left. And that frame now suits this particular location. Now if we should want to have that in another place, now that it's been adjusted here, we can copy it. And moving further down the timeline, using the paste key, we can simply paste it into this new location and the effect has been remembered. That looks a lot tidier than it did when there wasn't a frame around it. If you want to hide the frame, we can right click on that and you'll see that there's a disable function here. So by disabling that clip, then we're viewing it as if that clip didn't exist. It's still there, but visually hidden. We can enable that clip again by right-clicking on it and going to enable. And there it is back again. Those callouts that we have in our callouts project include an arrow, and you'll have seen those arrow animations in earlier tutorials. Let's go to the callouts, and there's an arrow animation. Let's use this one here. So we will copy that, come back to our tutorial, and if we look in here we will see that there is someone here with a mobile phone taking pictures. So let's point them out, and we'll simply paste the arrow into that location, and you'll see that it needs to be moved. So select on this clip, make sure the transpose tool is on, and move the arrow to point to that location. Now it's going at this point to be untidy because the arrow will start in the middle of the speaker, which doesn't really look too great. So we'll just change the way that the arrow comes in, and let's bring it up from, say, there. So if we bring it up from there and we want it to point to here, we'll need to now drag it down so that it's pointing to the phone. And let's play it.
School, and tonight we took the decision
to create a new project for your callout. You can simply go to the File menu, select New Project, give it the name Callouts, and once it's opened, then you can select any of your other events, and selecting, let's say, frame only, we can click on this and drag it into our callouts.
You'll see that there's a gap in the storyline because some of these callouts are clips and some of them are effects. If we wanted to recreate an effect, so here is an effect where the video has been reduced and put into a frame, we could recreate that by clicking on that clip, copying it, and when we paste it into the tutorial, say we paste it into this one here, this whole clip now will be reduced to the size that it was in the callout. So Command Option V, and that clip is now reduced in size to what it was in the callouts.
Different things happen when you're dragging clips between events within a library, or when you're dragging clips between events that are in different libraries. And the essence of this is to be clear that if you're dragging a clip within a library that's within events within the same library, then that clip is replaced or moved from the first event and is put into the one that you'll drag it to. If you're moving clips between events that are in different libraries, then Final Cut leaves a copy within the first event and makes a new copy in the second event, which is in the other library. Let's have a look at how this works. Here we have our callouts, and here is a clip within the callouts event. I can drag that into the wedding title events, selecting it and drag it to the wedding title events, and we'll see that it's moved. It's now no longer in the callouts event, but if we look in the wedding titles event, there it is. So it's been moved from one event to another because we've dragged within a library, within that callouts library. If I were to undo that now and go back to the callouts event within the callouts library, and then move this clip into the central auto event, so I'll select it here in the callouts and I'll drag it to the central auto and drop it there. We get this message here to say, do we want to create optimized or proxy media within the central auto library? That's the one that we're moving it to, and we say yes. If we're looking in callouts here, we can see that that clip is still there. It hasn't been removed. But if we go to the central auto library, there it is. A copy has been created in the central auto library. The next lesson will discuss the audition feature as well as compound clips.